Let's see here. You have been invited to the ultimate birthday bash. Inside the abandoned institute, house on Haunted Hill. If you survive one night, you will receive $1 million in cash. If you survive. Sincerely, Stephen Price. Bullshit! I ain't doing that. What? Need some tape. Better keep this. What if it isn't real? Where's the tape? I need some tape. What's up guys, Rob here, and I'm back with a brand new video. Going to be starting up my movie reviews again. I haven't done one in a while, but I said I was going to do Stephen King's It. I'm going to put that on the back burner for now, because I have some stuff I want to get to first. Today, we're going to be talking about an underrated horror film, as well as a decent horror remake. House on Haunted Hill, the 1999 remake of the 1959 classic with Vincent Price, which I love. What's funny about this is I never saw the original first. I saw this. This movie made me want to watch the original. This movie was a commercial success when it came out, even though critics did pan it a little bit. Not a lot of people like this movie. It kind of flies under the radar. Not too many people talk about it, but those who do don't really care for it. I don't understand. I had like a $19 million budget, and it made a little over $40 million. And it was #1 at the box office when it opened. This is the producing debut of Dark Castle Entertainment, which went on to do other horror films. There's a lot of nods to Vincent Price in this movie. Of course, Jeffrey Rush, who plays Stephen Price, the name, it's a little nod to Vincent Price, as well as the look. Kind of has the mustache. Looks a lot like Vincent Price. So there's a lot of little nods and things. But I put this in the decent category with Friday the 13th remake. It's not as good as, let's say, Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake or The Hills Have Eyes, in my opinion. But it's decent. I like the effects. It's fast-paced. It has a great cast. Jeffrey Rush, like I said, Famke Janssen, Taye Diggs, Ali Larter, Bridget Wilson, Peter Gallagher, and Chris Kattan. It's got great music. And it's basically like your typical haunted house movie. A lot of people will compare it to The Haunting with Liam Neeson, and I think this movie is 10 times better. Being that the effects in the movie The Haunting, I don't think it really stands up today. You know, with all the aberrations that form in that movie, the CGI just doesn't hold up, in my opinion. The CGI in this, though, does. In the climax of the film, which was actually inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, the effects were pretty good. The CGI effects of this apparition that's a bunch of souls together that form inside this house. It's the souls of all the dead patients and everyone who dies there. I thought that was a really, really cool thing towards the third act of the film. But this movie, yeah, it's very underrated. Like, no one ever really talks about it. It's a shame. But the story starts in 1931. You have this crazy doctor and his staff that are operating on patients. These insane people, like they start cutting these people open while they're awake. They show them like weird videos and visions and stuff in this little chamber thing. They do shock treatments. They medicate them. And they're just torturing these people. Well, one day, the patients have a riot, and they revolt against the doctor and the staff, And the doctor sees what's going on, and he shuts the place down by, you know, he pushes the switch there and on the wall, and then, you know, all the windows and the doors slam shut. They basically lock, and like these concrete walls come down, and you can't get through them. So everyone is stuck inside. Then a fire starts and burns everyone alive. So since that time, people have tried to go in there and fix things, clean things up, and they end up disappearing or getting killed. And there are a few stories that you can, you know, there are a few stories that you hear in the regular part of the movie where one of the characters talks about, you know, one of his relatives goes in there and, you know, he actually died. But it cuts to like 1999, and the story focuses on Stephen Price. And he is a theme park big shot. He likes to scare people with his attractions. And one of my favorite parts of the film is when they're at the theme park and he's showing these people this new ride. He's taking them up, and it's like this elevator that drops, and they think they're falling, and the bottom of the floor is a screen. So he's making them think like they're falling, which they're not. They get on the roller coaster, and I love roller coasters. I'm a roller coaster enthusiast. I love them. They're on the roller coaster, and there's a coaster in front of them, and the coaster falls off the track. The track splits in half, and it falls off. And so they get up to the part where it's split, and they're like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And then the track fixes itself. It's like an illusion. Like, that would be awesome. That would scare the shit out of everybody. I mean, that was a great touch. But that's what he does. He likes to scare people. And so his wife, Imke Jensen, they don't get along in this movie, but he wants to basically throw a huge birthday bash for his wife. And he wants to host it by making it scary, sort of like a mystery weekend kind of thing. He's inviting guests and stuff. But the whole guest list thing, I don't want to ruin it, but something happens where it gets altered, and these select people are on the list for a very good reason. They kind of tie it into the history of, you know, the actual house, or the insane asylum. So these people get invited, and, you know, it starts really fast too. Like, these people get introduced in the car up, you know, on the way up to the house, and then all of a sudden they're together, and you don't really learn too much backstory of each of them, which is kind of typical in horror films. A lot of them are just there because they're just there, but there are a few that have backstories, like Ali Larter's character you learn a little bit about, some of the other ones. But there was a lot of footage that was cut. There's a lot of deleted stuff, you know, that could, you know, bring some more backstory to some of these characters, which didn't really, I don't know if that would have meant too much, you know, if they would have left some of that in. I don't think it would have made a difference with some of these characters. Like I said, some of these characters are just there to die. Some of these characters are just, you know, I don't know, they're underdeveloped, but it didn't take anything away from the film, is what I mean. So, my crush, Bridget Wilson, is in this, you know, Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat. She was also in I Know What You Did Last Summer. Of course, Ali Larter from Final Destination 2. She's been in other films. But, so the point of these people coming is, you know, they all receive this letter stating that they will be awarded $1 million that they survive the whole night there at the abandoned institute. And a little twist is, let's say some of these people don't survive. Not only do you get your money, but you get their money. So you could walk out of there a rich person. Which sounds like a cool idea, but it's like they don't even know what's ahead, you know. Stephen Price has this whole thing set up to scare the living hell out of them for entertainment. That's what he does. And it kind of reminds me of Halloween Resurrection. The same thing Busta Rhymes did when he, you know, sent everyone into the Myers house. He set up props, he set up fake stuff so people would get scared. for his reality show. It's the same kind of thing and what they're doing here, but the reality is that things are actually happening that Stephen Price didn't plan on. Bridget Wilson, there's this really cool scene where she has this camera the whole time, and she's looking down these dark hallways, and she sees the ghosts of the doctor, the crazy doctor, and the staff, and they look up at her, and like there's like fidgeting and like really, you know, the ghosts kind of like twitch and do like, you know, they kind of walk really fast. And I know a lot of people were complaining about that. If you read some of the reviews, some of the critics did not like that. It didn't bother me at all. I thought that was a cool way to do, you know, certain shots. It wasn't like your typical apparition. It was something different. So I actually liked that. There's a twist with a certain character in this film that kind of blew me away when I first saw it. It wasn't really a big twist, but it was enough to make you understand, you know, why the wife and Stephen Price are the way they are, or, you know, like what's happening between them. They're, you know, because they're like mad at, they're like going at each other in this movie, like from beginning to end. It just doesn't stop. But yeah, like a certain character, I won't spoil it, but a certain character, you know, his motivations are clear on what he's doing. But there's a little bit of comedy in the movie that works very well. And, you know, like I said, some of the characters have background stories to them. And the effects are pretty cool. There's some creepy moments too. Like, you know, it's like I said, it's your typical haunted house movie where, you know, the house looks creepy. There's cobwebs. You know, there's a dark basement that you know, has long dark hallways. It's got a little bit of a claustrophobic feel. And, you know, you're going around the corner and you think you see something or hear something. There's a creak, or, you know, it's your typical haunted house. So while they're there, the house shuts down, just like it did in 1931. But the doctor was the one who switched it. They don't know who switched it this time. They're blaming Stephen Price because they're like, oh, he likes to scare people. That's what he's doing. But it wasn't him, and it wasn't his guy that he set up in the back. It's setting up all this scary stuff. It wasn't him either. The house did it, and that's when, you know, like Chris Kattan's character, when he's like, it's the house, it's alive. It kind of reminds me of the Amityville Horror, you know, the house is alive kind of stuff. So for some reason the house shut itself down, so they cannot get out now, just like the patients couldn't in 1931. So now they're stuck in there. So now they either have two options. They're going to try to find the switch, which they don't know where it is. They're going to try to find the switch to open the place back up, or they're going to stay there and wait until the morning. So the characters kind of split up. Some of them go to find the switch. Some of them just stay, you know, in the lobby, and things start happening to people one by one. And like I said, the effects are great. The CGI effects in the climax of the film were inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. You know, there's a really cool apparition with all the dead souls of the people who died there in this one big kind of like cloud of souls. And if you fall into that, like if you fall into it, they steal your soul pretty much. You're pretty much dead. That was a really cool moment in the third act. I really liked that a lot. But yeah, there was a lot of things cut out in this movie. There's some deleted scenes on this DVD, because this is the old, this is a Snapcase DVD here, but there's some deleted scenes. I'm not sure if some of those were that they talk about, like Ali Larter had a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if some of that's in here or not. I haven't actually watched all of them, but anyway, there are deleted scenes. Kind of a cool Easter egg. The theme park scene with the roller coaster, that roller coaster called the Terra Incognita, which was his coaster he was, you know, being interviewed for. That was actually the Incredible Hulk roller coaster in Universal Islands of Adventure in Florida, Orlando, Florida. I actually rode that roller coaster, and I saw a lot of similar things when I was riding it, or when I was watching the movie. I remember riding a certain part of it because it shows people on the coaster and it shows the track and doing this, and you can identify certain things. That's the that's the Incredible Hulk coaster. I thought that was kind of cool. Universal Islands of Adventure, that's a really cool theme park. I think it's still there today, and it's probably changed a lot, but yeah, that was a really, really cool place. That was kind of a cool Easter egg. But anyway, yeah, this is an underrated film. I wouldn't say like it's really great or like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I definitely think it's worth a watch if you have not seen it. Like, the original's great. The original's fantastic. But this one, I just don't agree with all the hate it gets. I think people are a little bit too harsh on this movie. I would say if you have not seen it, definitely give it a watch. That's what I would say. I don't think you would be disappointed. So yeah, that's House on Haunted Hill. Hope I didn't give too much away. I always like to talk about certain scenes and certain things that I liked about the film. Certain things that I have to get into in order to make my point. So anyway, yeah, that's House on Haunted Hill. Let me know what you guys think of the movie down in the comments. I need to get the original. I do not have it in my collection, the 1959 version. I'm not even sure if there's a Blu-ray release of it, but I do need to get that version for sure. And I do need to watch it again as well. So that's my review of House on Haunted Hill. Let me know, like I said, in the comments what you thought of the film. And if you have any other review suggestions for me, let me know in the comments as well. If there's certain movies you want me to talk about or review, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. So I got a lot of reviews that I have already worked on. I just got to edit them and stuff. Those will be up probably this week. So hope you enjoy that. And stay tuned. More to come here on the Rob Reviews channel. So Rob signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one.